Welcome to my diary, beloved. I'm Tatami. Here we talk about whatever I want to, and today we are revisiting the mask topic because I think, one, it really highlights what I mean when I say our society, our community here in America, what little we had, is really cracking at the seams. It's really struggling. I'm also like, I wanted to make this video back when I saw this, like, look, this is my new tablet. I've never had a handheld device that's worth more than $200 before. And this one is like, the things it does, y'all, and how fast it does it is so exciting. Anyways, it has this app on here that will give me updates on things. And so I found this AntiMasker compilation. And thought I wanted to share it with y'all. And now I doubly want to share it because I got an email from a weird rando who saw my Trump assassination reaction video and was like, you should double check if someone really peed in the store. They didn't pee in the store. You should double check your facts, blah, 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 and be nicer to Trump. Lay off him. He doesn't deserve this. I was like, you think Trump was her nephew, her baby nephew, the way she acted. I was like, honey, Blake, this one's for you. I don't know who the hell you are, but this one's for you because this stuff is getting crazy, and I'm not crazy for thinking that this is a reflection of our society to a weirdly deeper level. I also want to say a rule off the bat that I do not condone attacking people who are anti-maskers. I've seen cops have like been hitting people, grabbing people by the throat. Citizens have been actually fighting each other, and sometimes it is the pro-masker who attacks the anti-masker. I don't think that's appropriate, y'all. This isn't the crime to be getting handsy with people. Do that with the pedos, okay? Go tar and feather a pedo out there. Let's do that let's keep that energy for everybody on Epstein's list that keeps getting revealed to be one of his little homeboys. How about that? How about that? Okay, so I'm not here for let's hurt people. No. Okay, but I do recognize most of the time it's the anti-maskers being violent, but I do want to say that I did see it the other way in a couple of scenarios. So anyways, these have changed since yesterday. Yesterday's compilation was much different than this, and I'm not sure if those things will come back up. The two that really stood out in my mind yesterday, one was the lady who peed in the corner. That absolutely happened. It was at a Verizon store. I think I thought it was Radio Shack or Target or something. Whatever. They all have like the same logo. No, they don't. Anyways, my point is it was in a Verizon store. It absolutely happened. You can just Google that. Simple enough to know. This lady was asked to leave. They called the police because she wouldn't, and then they had to call the police again because she pulled down her pants and started pissing in the corner. Does that not feel like the fabric of our communities is really falling apart? And how am I a terrible person for noting that we've got somebody in the head of everything who's condoning this mess, okay? The second one that I remember from yesterday was this bizarre story. I want to say it was like they were at copy machines at a store, and this like old white lady was standing at a copy machine, and then a black woman with no mask came to a machine nearby. And so the white lady was like, you should put on a mask, and the black lady was like, no, and was getting confrontational about it, or like not confrontational, like getting closer. She yelled or something, like she was just yelling, and the two of them were bickering for a second, like blah, 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 who knows, I'll cough on you or something, whatever they say, you know, it's my right, this against the law, who knows what lies they're saying when they're mad about the mask. Then this white lady, this is where I was like, what? Because she says she just recently had surgery. So if I had recently had surgery and I was 70, 80 years old, I wouldn't have done what she just did next, which is she whipped up her cane and pointed it at the lady, and according to the article and the footage on the cameras, came within inches of the woman's chest, the anti-masker's chest. I will admit, hearing about a cane coming within like of your body, even if it was here for me, I would be like, it riles me up almost instantly thinking about it. I still would never push an old lady. I wouldn't. I would call over an employee and be like, "Can you get this crazy lady? She's waving her cane at me. You can find it on the TV. This is some psycho shit. You need to remove her because that's really crazy." I don't get why she would do that. The lady therefore went and pushed this old woman, and you know how it happens when old people fall. There is a huge percent chance that they will break even a fracture, something will go wrong when an old person's fall. It is really hard for them to recover, and it's really likely something bad will happen. And so this old woman broke her leg. falling down in this store. I don't know, who knows what kind of store it was. I don't remember. I just remember the cane and the altercation, and I thought, this is crazy. This is going crazy. There's no other way to explain this, but the fabric of society ripping at the seams, y'all. We'll move on to the ones I've seen today. The first one is by Newsweek. They reported that California churches, we've been recently asked here in California to stop doing sermons inside and to always wear a mask. They are defying the indoor sermon ban, to going ahead and doing it inside as much as they feel like it. And they also are not requiring masks. I don't get why people are insisting on having big events and then insisting on not following the rules at these big events. Are you a victim at that point? It just feels hard to have sympathy when, it's like, is this really what you want to protest the police about? This? Like, people are homeless, hungry, getting beaten, killed in the streets, evictions and this is what you're protesting? We also have this psycho situation, y'all. Washington man was charged with second-degree assault because he attacked a disabled veteran, 72 years old, y'all. This man literally... Tell me how. Spokane, Washington. Let's see what it was. He's in jail. He was arrested without incident. This man, his girlfriend was walking around without a mask, and the old veteran man asked her to put her mask on. I guess she went and snitched to her man, or she was just mad about it to her man or something, because then he came charging out of his room into the lobby several minutes later, and basically just attacked this old man sitting down with his cane next to him and his dog next to him. And according to the old man, the victim says Hansen struck him several times, rendering him unconscious, and yes, his jaw was broken. His jaw was broken because he asked your ignorant girlfriend to put on a mask. He's literally one of the high-risk people. If anybody should be allowed to ask people to put on a mask, should it not be the elderly who are high risk? Like, my goodness, should it not be the autoimmune in them? Like, how are y'all doing this? How are you laying hands on people for some bullshit? Okay, next. This Ohio woman has appeared in her second anti-masker video in less than a week. So it's like, are we supposed to pretend these people are not deliberately putting themselves into this situation? Are they not deliberately going into stores and doing this? Because we have a few of those. Coming up. Hold up. Okay, so this bitch is just trying to go viral, or she's just trying to get famous. I don't know. Anna Perrick apparently went viral for refusing to wear a face covering at the Ohio DMV. I wonder if she was the one who was refusing to leave the DMV, even though she had no business at the DMV. She was just hanging out there with no mask just to piss people off. I wonder if that was her, if that was just another DMV situation. Anyways, she turned up at another venue, Planet Fitness. She was asked repeatedly to leave the Cleveland area branch. She accused the staffer of harassing her when she tried to start up a treadmill without a mask. I'm sorry, she was trying to heavy breathe running and saying that this man was harassing her for asking her to leave the goddamn premises. Like, these people are bold and confused. Like, there's just, I don't know if it's like, they need more empathy. They need some kind of mental health help. They need just, if they were better taken care of by the government, they wouldn't feel like they needed to lash out like kids and be throwing temper tantrums at all these different facilities. Anyways, she's like, I want to exercise. I pay to exercise. I'm not going to speak to someone over the phone who I don't even know who it is when I have limited time to exercise. All you're doing right now is cutting into my freedom of liberty. Whoa. The video has been viewed tens of thousands of times, but he said when you came in, you did not have a face mask on. They repeatedly tell her to talk to the police when they arrive about being in violation of the policy. The signs pertain to the governor's mandate. So if you want to enforce the governor's mandate, then enforce them correctly, because they make an exception for exercising. The exception is you don't have to wear a face mask when exercising. So if you leave me alone because I feel like I'm being harassed, she said. I feel really weird about that, because gyms are absolutely allowed to say you can exercise outside and you can exercise without a mask. But if an establishment has asked for, say, people to wear shoes, people to wear shirts, and people to wear masks, that's this establishment's right. You can cancel your membership, but And then she's like, what's next? If I'm not wearing a weight band around my waist, are you going to tell me to leave? And he's like, those aren't mutually exclusive. Thank you. The Planet Fitness staff members replied. She's like, your rules don't require a face mask. But then however, the fitness chain announced that they had a global protocol on all of their establishments. Planet Fitness to require face masks in all locations effective August 1st. So this is her second one. Let's see. Oh, okay. So she was the person in the DMV refusing to wear a mask inside. She repeatedly said she was just within the confines of the law because she was accompanying her boyfriend. It doesn't have anything to do with you wearing a mask inside. You accompany your boyfriend here, but stay in the car if you can't wear a mask. I don't understand. Does your boyfriend need you to hold his hand through the lines at the DMV? Like, what's going on? Like, you don't need to be there if you can't wear a mask. The gym employee at the location confirmed the incident, but would not provide any further details. All right. This next one bothers me. Nashville promised a crackdown on mask-defying partiers, but instead they just arrested a random homeless man with a drug and drinking problem. And this is what happens exactly. This is what happens when you have people with guns show up to events that don't need guns. It's really crazy when you're asking for them to do all these other things. Like, why aren't they at the parties? Why aren't they cracking down at parties? Why aren't they cracking down at large gatherings if that's what they were supposed to be doing? How did they find themselves bothering with a homeless man during a pandemic? Like, y'all, these are some hard-ass times. I just don't understand. It says, and of course he was a black man. He was just walking down the street, and he was accosted by them. He was by himself walking down the street at 6:30 Wednesday evening. They warned him to put on a mask. He did not do so, despite carrying two in his pocket. They encountered him again an hour later in the same area, still not wearing a mask, still by himself. He was placed into custody and physical arrest due to his defiant behavior. He gave them an address, and it was for the homeless shelter a few blocks away. So it looks like the person the police decided really needed to be punished was the homeless man walking outdoors by himself. Y'all. But people are out here having fucking clusters. Plus, think about this. They arrest the man to put him into the jails where they're having huge coronavirus outbreaks. Are they really concerned, or are they not really concerned? Why can't the police ever focus? Why is it like this? Okay, so let's see. Oh my goodness. The rich, loud, not wearing masks. Trump's golf club members turning news briefing into a protest. Did you all see that a few days ago where Trump was like, oh no, I'm having a news briefing. But really it was like at the golf resort, and all of his fans were obviously there to support him. And so he had like 25 people there. So like when he said things that even if they were mediocre, someone was there to cheer, woo, yeah, we love you. And when the reporters would just do their job asking basic questions about like COVID, they would be like, boo, you boo, like, what are you doing? Like, you suck. And like, even the reporters' faces was like, what is going on? Like, what? And the part that really disturbed me about that imagery was, y'all, tell me how this woman has her two daughters in front of her in little sundresses, like an 8-year-old and like an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, neither one wearing masks. And I just kept thinking, are you one of the people booing and cheering and doing too much with no masks with your kids right here? You took your daughters out for this into a crowd? I'm confused. I didn't understand it. It just felt like a huge privilege thing. And I don't also understand how our media keeps getting tricked into basically showing up to Trump rallies and putting them on national television. Like, at what point do you just stop? At what point do you not anymore just entertain this shit? Or just call it what it is? Or I don't know, y'all. Okay, this part. Okay, the next, we're going to read the motorcycle rally first. Here's what we're going to do. Apparently, no masks are required at a 250,000 person rally that's supposed to go on. A 10-day motorcycle rally in South Dakota. I remember that. Let's see. There used to be, this is a scale down from previous years where typically it's 500,000. I want to salute the motorcyclists who chose to not this year. Like, I salute your common sense, my fellow patriots. Good job. So they were largely free of restrictions, but here's what I recently just saw an update on this rally, like recently, like as in a few minutes ago, and it said that they had to arrest like a couple hundred people. There were like some fights broke out, and that also 12 or 14 crashes. I was like, what? Y'all crashed your motorcycles into each other, or what happened there? Were you just trying to like avoid police and bumped into each other? Is that usual when you get so many motorcyclists around each other? Is it typical to have a shit ton of arrests and a shit ton of motorcycling accidents? Like, I would think if anybody, the guys who and girls who showed up here would be able to handle a motorcycle and not get into hella accidents. But at any rate, the rally brings in a lot of revenue for South Dakota, so I'm not shocked that poorer states are trying to get their in, even at the expense of people's health and the well-being of their state, which South Dakota isn't doing like the best at handling coronavirus, especially after this, I would presume. And especially after this, people driving back from South Dakota back to all of the places they come from. 250,000 spreaders is all I see here. There's a few people who did wear masks, but most of them did not. And let's see. It doesn't say. It says the city received a letter sent by attorneys for an outside business containing threats of litigation unless the rally moved forward. It suggested the city did not have the right to cancel the rally because previous court rulings found that the rally is not produced by a single organizer. So yeah, people felt like they had to. The governor is taking a super relaxed approach to COVID, and I think we're going to see the repercussions of that coming forward. This next story is bizarre. Bizarre. Okay, tell me how somebody is claiming to be an anti-mask agency and have actually gotten like cease and desist from our government because they were using the Justice Department seal on fake, exemption cards for not having to wear a mask. They had their Facebook page got shut down because it was just spreading lies and spreading stupidity. And the Freedom to Breathe Agency, the Department of Justice is who issued the warning. They're going into stores with their video cameras telling employees that they can be sued, that this isn't legal, blah, blah, blah. It's lies. It's lies. If your government said that you had to, you had to. So I guess this went viral on TikTok. Liz Chavez is a supervisor at the health food store. She, at her store, the cashiers have been directed to tell the manager or a supervisor if someone isn't wearing a mask. I think that's a really good idea to have the manager be the person who comes up and says it. Don't have it be the little cashier. You know what I mean? I heard some little cashier, an 18-year-old, was like at a restaurant and she went and told this old man, like, or a man, like, to put his mask on, and he pulled out a gun and was like, waving it around, and she was like, I make $8.50, bitch, in tips. Like, I do not make enough for this. And I agree. I mean, the cashiers, the waiters, the baggers, who have you, y'all should not be the ones. You should not be the ones who are required to talk to people. Go to the supervisor, I think, is excellent choice. So the lady launches into a spiel. So she goes up to her. It's like, hey, in order to be inside the store, you got to required to wear a mask. They told me, no, we're not required to wear a mask. So this is what it's like to be an essential worker, is what they shared it with. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so she launches into a spiel about how they are from the Freedom to Breathe Agency. Her companion takes out her phone to record the exchange. They say they are. She says she's the FTBA's founder, Lenka Coloma, and they are making sure that people's constitutional rights, civil and federal laws are not broken. Civil, the ways, like, think about what our ancestors went through for civil rights, and then to have someone's just, it feels like they're belittling it. I know that that's not what she's trying to say, but it feels that way. Like, just don't compare the two, please. Don't compare the two. She says, "You're putting yourself into a major legal liability. You personally." Chavez says the paper stated that she could face legal action for telling people to wear masks. The piece of paper they gave me was basically telling me I could go to prison for 3 to 5 years and I could get fined up to $10,000 for telling them to wear a mask if I am not a doctor. Coloma and the other woman left after the exchange that was shown in the TikTok. "They were not here to shop," said Chavez. "They honestly were probably just waiting around for somebody to come up to them and ask them to wear a mask so that they could do this." The video was viewed 1.2 million times on TikTok and even more times on Twitter. They are basically pretending to be a federal agency, which is super against the law, super illegal. And how are you accusing other people of breaking the law, but you literally are breaking the law? What is going on? Anyways, they said they were going to be like reporting businesses to the FTBA, and like it just is stupid. It's just stupid. It says here, this one's pretty funny. SF restaurants have started hanging graphics like this to help people who just don't fucking get it, I guess. And I am absolutely with that. Even if you are an outdoor diner, I think it's important to have your mask on. I just do. You know, especially if you're in the restaurant's lobbies, you're about to order, put your damn mask on. You know, if you go sit all the way by yourself or go sit in your car, that's another thing. But I don't understand people who are confused. I think that's a really good idea. The graphic, just like we have little graphics explaining how to live in all these other situations. This is this bathroom. That's the family bathroom. That's, you know what I'm saying? This is the trash can. You drop it in the trash. Here's the recycle. Okay, so now you got to wear your mask. I'm with that. Pair who attacked an Ocean Mall store worker over masks ID'd. They hit an Ocean County store manager and spit on her face after she told them to wear a mask. Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to be assault. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, listen to this. Oh my God. When the pair came into the Zumiez skateboard store on July 16th, she told them to put the masks that were hanging around their neck on their faces. The man became very angry at the request and started whipping the belt, hitting Miss Carol, age 30, working in a Zumiez, just to get by. Perhaps because she enjoys the culture, or perhaps because she's just trying to get by. They hit her with a belt. Whipped a belt around. Like, what the fuck is this? Do you hear what I'm saying? This is what I mean by this shit is going crazy. What is going on? What the fuck is going on here? Holy shit. The woman then screamed at Carol and spit at her before leaving the store. But that's all it takes to get the germs in the air. Fuck you, bitch. It's nasty. Both of you. Fuck you. That's so gross. People out here making minimal and shit. Carol took the picture of them out as they left and then followed them to the parking lot, I'm assuming so she could probably get a better picture because that was likely very upsetting. There, the man threatened to kill her. Toms River police identified the man as a 41-year-old man, Richard Alter, and the woman as Silena Kramer, 32, both of Binghamton, New York. A warrant was issued for Alter's arrest after he was charged with second-degree terroristic threats and a simple assault. Kramer was also charged with simple assault and issued a summons. Thank you. I'm very glad she also got assault for spitting at somebody during a pandemic. She said, Carol said she was relieved they have their names and have identified them, and she is ready for them to be arrested. And she said people overall, the mask wearing has not been a problem. And in fact, hella people have come to the store and were like, oh my gosh, was that you? And they've been very supportive of her, and I'm really glad to hear that. There was an executive order by their governor, Phil Murphy, meant to slow the spread, requiring anyone in the stores to wear masks. There is this makes exceptions for those who have medical conditions that make it difficult to do so. Masks are required outside when social distancing isn't available. Here's my thing with that, though, is the Zumiez store is literally like cheap clothing. I just really don't see why you needed to be in the Zumiez store if you can't wear a mask. Like, if you are that autoimmune, that at risk, that struggling to breathe, that you can't cover your face for an hour, which, let's be real, like, my husband's a plumber. He's covered his face outside in the sweating heat and sun with a mask for the dust or whatever all day. like literally from the morning till the evening, all day until he's off from work. So I just really struggle to believe people can't just walk into the Amical, well air conditioned, store and just deal, just be chill. Okay, so that was the end of that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's the one who won't leave even though she has no reason to be in the store. Look at this face. Why did they do that to her? Y'all made her look crazy. What is going on? Okay, anyways. But maybe that's what she really looks like in the video, y'all. Maybe that's really what's going on. So her name is Anna Perrick. Oh, this is her. This is the same girl. This is the same girl from before. She said, look at these caps. Can you see she is in all caps screaming? I told him that he cannot tell me what to do with my body. He then said, I need to leave because me being inside with Mark exceeded the space available. I asked to see the occupancy permit. I left the building and stood outside. The mob crowd outside them began to yell things at me. One guy inside his truck called me a bitch. Another younger guy said, I don't care about the face masks. Why do you have to be an expletive? In the video, the DMV employees simply repeat to her that she has to wear a mask to be inside. And they're like, it's a mandate. It's not a law. Your job is not to enforce mandates. But if it's the rule of your building, you're allowed to enforce it. Whoever's in charge of your building is allowed to enforce that shit. Anyways, Perrick's boyfriend was trying to reason with her as the employees threatened to call the cops. And he's like, the cops are going to come here. You don't want that shit again. Is she often getting into confrontations? What is going on here? I feel bad sometimes. I know, sometimes men will be really crazy, but people often don't pay attention to when women do things that deliberately just escalate situations. And especially, I feel bad for their boyfriends who are expected to, stand up for them and get into fights for them and stuff. And it's just it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. She continues to share content promoting Donald Trump and the QAnon conspiracy theory as well as anti-masker stuff. I'm glad she left and nobody was hurt, except for perhaps her feelings. I don't know. All right, Florida shop gets more threats over mask rule, but also outpouring of support. That is so wonderful to hear. Oh my gosh. Next, though, this one's from last Tuesday. Oh, I don't know which Tuesday, actually. Let's click in and find out. Of course, a pop-up. August 4th. A man charged with shooting at employee after being asked to wear mask in Pennsylvania cigar shop. Shooting. Y'all, they're shooting. People are trying to kill each other over being asked to do something. I'm telling you, there is a sickness in this society right now that just is not being addressed. People are on edge and are snapping over the smallest things. Adam Zaborowski, 35, entered the Cigars International in Pennsylvania Friday morning in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania. Friday morning without a face covering. Tom Wolfe requires masks be worn in businesses. So the staff asked him to wear a mask or he could have his order taken to the curbside, he was told. So he even had an option to just sit outside and they would take care of everything for him if he didn't have one. He became irate, grabbed 2 cigars from the shelf, exited without paying. So after he exits without paying, a store employee follows him outside to retrieve the merchandise, and he fired the gun in the air before firing 2 rounds at the employee, according to the affidavit. A patron was sitting behind the employee as the rounds were fired. He then fled in his Dodge Dakota pickup and was arrested the following day after engaging in another shootout with the Pennsylvania State Police and the Slatington Borough Police, said Bethlehem Police Department Sergeant Sean Powell, who remains in the hospital, but there was no details of any injuries. I'm saying it, these people are stressed and they are going off the edge for shit that doesn't matter. For shit that does. I really honestly, I think we're going to see more of this type of crazy behavior, and I think it's not just going to be limited to masking, anti-maskers, any of that shit. He's facing serious charges. He's lucky to be alive, considering his actions with law enforcement. He has had a series of events which has caused him stress and depression, said his attorney. These are not a defense or excuse. He lost his job, just lost a custody battle for his child. I don't think that's gonna be fixed anytime soon after this. And did not cope well with the virus. People deal with stress differently. He did not deal with it appropriately. His family is very supportive, and we will have him examined by a forensic psychologist and proceed from there. I think mental help is what he could use. I'll be honest. That is a scary story. Okay, so this one, a man refuses to wear mask in Native American reservation store, says shirt covering is a mask. My goodness. Okay, so apparently this man believed that, like, pulling up his shirt, I think, it was going to be enough. And the people were like, they didn't feel he could effectively shop that way. And basically were like, we just need you to go if you can't wear a mask. And so he, let's see, they took a video. It was in Wisconsin, with the Ojibwe tribal bands, the Lake Superior Chippewa Reservation. Why was he there? Why are they there? What is going on? On Monday, the store on tribal land was the scene of an irate white man pulling his shirt over his exposed stomach and telling store employees it was a sufficient facial covering. Okay, that's exactly what I thought. Video shows the man, he lifted up the bottom, I think is what they're saying, and put it over his nose and was walking around with his belly out. This is bizarre. This is just bizarre. He demanded to know the names of each store employee as they asked him to leave. They had to call tribal police. The manager said this was not the first time a customer had defiantly refused to wear their mask. Their tribal council passed a resolution earlier this year, which allows only permanent residents on tribal land during the pandemic. I think that's wise. So basically, this white man went onto the reservation, onto tribal lands without permission. They have already banned people who are not people who live there, and basically was trying to bully them into letting him walk around the store as he pleased and do as he pleased, even as they tried to enforce the rules on their land, which, by the way, again, I'm pretty sure they don't have to follow the exact same rules as we do on their land. They get to make rules. So even more so on tribal land, one would presume you could follow the mask ordinance. But whatever, let's continue. Man charged with battery after mass confrontation turns violent. This was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. At 8:30 p.m., a man wearing a mask walked back to his van in the parking lot of a festival. So he walked back to the parking lot of a festival of foods on University Avenue. Another man, 20 years old, Vadim Sinitsky, saw him and said, "Isn't it dumb we have to wear masks?" And the victim then walked back to his car and said, "What did you say? What did you say, Cupcake?" He then added, "I have to wear a mask, Cupcake, because my wife has cancer." And he walked away. So Sinitsky, feeling appropriately chagrined at his rude behavior, picks up a metal bar. From where? A tire iron and an expandable baton, then forces the victim's driver door open and proceeds to begin beating him on the arm and leg while yelling. The victim was eventually able to shut his door, and Sinitsky and another man who was with him, presumably, ran off. The cops quickly found their car about a mile away and arrested him. Officers said he became extremely emotional at his arrest and began crying. Sinitsky later told him the victim threatened his life and he had to take care of it because he was a man. He added something about self-defense before beginning to rant about the police and society, according to court documents. They transferred him to jail, but jail staff asked for medical clearance, wanting to test him for COVID because he had an extremely high temperature. At the hospital, prosecutors say Sinitsky was uncooperative, charged at an officer, became resistive, made several comments that he was going to beat an officer. Prosecutors say he asked police to remove his handcuffs, go in a room, and box with him. They're charging him with battery, disorderly conduct, resisting an officer, and these are all misdemeanors. He was eventually cleared and taken back to the jail. He was then released on a $2,500 signature bond. He beat somebody. He beat the shit out of somebody who was already suffering with a wife with cancer. All because he didn't agree about the mask and didn't want to get his wife sick, who was on chemo. Oh, my goodness. Cop asks lady where her mask is. Lady smashes cop's head into the ground on repeat. What? Oh my gosh, thank goodness. This says Australia. We're going to leave that to them. Whew. We are going to leave that to them. All right. You know what? This is starting to get into other people's country. Oh, we do have South St. Louis with a pizza and arcade, Staples. Oh. Is this the one with the broken leg? Here, we found it. Oh my goodness, it's so crazy. So crazy. But people are on edge and like, it's just too much. Okay, so this lady was not as old as I remembered. The woman who attacked her, Terry Thomas, is 25. And the old lady who had just had some type of surgery was 54. And they were in a Staples, and she she had a liver transplant 4 months ago. Was walking with the cane, told her to put her mask on, pointed the cane at the woman, and then that's when the woman charged her, pushed her down, and she was diagnosed with a fractured left tibia. Like, y'all, this is too much. This is too much. 17-year-old Sesame Place worker assaulted by couple over mask policy. Why are y'all going after little kids? Like, the really young ones just trying to do their damn jobs. Like, why are you just trying to hurt people? Why are you going after old people, young people? This is too much. Oh, my goodness. And you know what? One thing that I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want to do this forever. And it appears that the pages just go on and on and on from here to across the world. I remember a few days ago, some lady, I want to say it's Janine Pirro. Is that her name? She's like on Fox News. She's like a judge, or she was a judge or something. She wore her mask a few weeks ago and was like, got a lot of flack for it. But then she reversed her position like this week and was like, what are they trying to hide? What's going on? It just feels shifty. And I'm like, are they really trying to make it seem like criminals are the ones trying to wear masks? It just feels really crazy. And it's times like this that I just really want to emphasize that we could use real leadership. Real leadership. You know, there's people who are in charge right now. They're not cut up about this, emotional about this. Basically, for the most part, I would say it's only when it starts to get down to like the governor level, the mayor level, but those people don't have as much power, right? They have a decent amount of power, but right now we need a cohesive leadership from the top. And it's just heartbreaking seeing that we don't have it and seeing this communal result, the society breaking down, people flipping out over small things, ready to cry, and that's the thing too, we don't have no mental health. We don't have mental health care. We don't even have health care. We don't have nothing if we feel sick on the usual. And so that also, I think, is exacerbating the situation. I've said it before and I'll say it again, like, we could have done better than everyone else. Trump could have looked at any other country and been like, we're doing that, but biglier, much better, kafif. And I would have been like, you know what? You did it. You did that. Unfortunately, I can't say that about anybody. Nobody's doing it. Nobody's done that. They're all very content in their houses with industrial fridges. They're very content to live on their resorts, to continue to extort money, to have the Secret Service have to sleep at their resorts so they can get more money. That's what's on their mind on the day to day. It's not the fact that so many people are struggling with stress, with mental health, like all these things normally happening. Remember that one guy's like, you know, he just like lost custody and like wonder why, but I mean, that does hurt. And that's something that would normally hurt. But then on top of that, we do have the fact that our society has fundamentally changed. I wonder if I looked back, I was very young when it happened. I was in like the 4th grade when it happened. But I wonder if I look back to 9/11, if there was a lot of stuff like this too. If there was a lot of like confrontations of people just not knowing how to mitigate the stress and mitigate the changes of their lives. So just taking it out laterally, right? Like everybody's just, you know, reaching out on the same level. Instead of punching up, they're punching to the sides or punching down. I really hope that as time progresses and as clearly it's about to get a lot more desperate, we all come to really realize that we need to work together on this, and we need to demand a change together on this. I don't know why we're so content to, go after the homeless people, go after the person next door. We're all in this together. I don't know how other Americans don't realize we're literally all in this struggle together. And there is a government who is supposed to be taking care of this. There is a contractual obligation between all of us. It is why we pay our taxes. It is why we give and give and give to the government, and they're supposed to give back to us, and we're supposed to hold them accountable. It's you're a good patriot if you demand that behavior from your politicians. Politicians are not celebrities, They are public figures who've dedicated themselves to taking care of us. And if they are not fulfilling that duty, I think it's up to us to really call that out. And I do think it will take all of us really coming together on this and admitting that things are broken and not right. And yes, placing the blame rightfully on the people in the government's shoulders who should be doing something, but instead are going on yet another vacation, are skipping over the rules, are incapable of, are shelving bills for months on end and then trying to pass them in the last week before vacation, are incapable of having discussion and conversation, or saying they can't even be in the same room as each other. I said to people who comment on my stuff, sometimes I have to tell them, like, this isn't high school, y'all. This is real life. Like, I'm not picking on Trump because it's like the funny thing to do. That's late night show comedians' jobs, right? My job is, this is my diary. This is where I just speak my truths and speak my feelings, however frustrating and unpopular those feelings and truths may be. And that's just the reality of the life that I'm living in the world that I'm seeing right now. It's really frustrating and sad, honestly, to watch all of this go down, and I'm hoping for better for all of us. And I think that this mask situation is just like a microcosm. It's just like a really good way to highlight this sickness that's really starting to blossom in our society here in America this year, 2020. Things are changing and they will not be the same. And people are freaking out about it. And I think they could be a lot more comfortable in this change if we had more effective leadership that was really willing to help us and go above and beyond helping us during these scary and stressful times. All right, stay encouraged. Avoid anti-maskers if you can. Please wear your mask and stay safe. I will see you next time. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads.